watching Gravitas and I'm Sana Khan. Now, in our next story, we look at possible trouble brewing for Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. Prime Minister Sharif's wealth and how he acquired it is again under public scrutiny. This after a German paper released documents showing his daughter Maryam Nawaz Sharif as a beneficiary of offshore companies. Mandy Clark reports from London.
His wealth is estimated at more than $1 billion, and in the ranks of Pakistan's rich, various accounts place him fourth. He is Nawaz Sharif, Pakistan's prime minister, and the latest revelations concern documents released by a German paper with the tweet. For those in Pakistan who doubt the role of the prime minister's daughter, Maryam Nawaz Sharif, in Panama Papers, some of the docs. Judge yourself. The documents are not new and in the possession of the Pakistani courts, but they underscore Sharif's daughter Miriam's involvement in Minerva Financial Services, an offshore firm. Minerva is the holding company of two other offshore firms, Neskel and Nielsen Enterprises. Both firms are said to own 4 luxury flats in central London that actually belong to the Sharif family. Sharif acquired the flats when he was in opposition. His children have obtained a £7 million loan against the value of the property, and a political opponent of his, Raymond Malik, has accused him of buying the flats through ill-gotten means. Sharif is under pressure to disclose how he acquired those flats, the implication being the flats were acquired through corrupt means. The Panama Papers leak had earlier named 3 of Sharif's 4 children. Miriam, tipped as her father's political successor, and 2 sons, Hassan and Hussein, as owning London real estate through offshore companies. Mandy Clark, London, WION.
In fact, WION's London Bureau Chief Mandy Clark is joining me live right now. Mandy, tell us a bit more about what exactly do these documents reveal. And you were out there today filming, those fancy apartments. Give us a sense of the area and perhaps the cost of these apartments over there.
Well, it's in one of London's premier areas. It's very upscale. It's Mayfair. It would be worth millions to begin with, and it's right in central London. All the high flyers live in that area. But what these documents reveal that have been unearthed by the BBC is more about the timings of the purchase, because before Sharif's son Hussein had said that they were bought in 2006. But these documents clearly show that the 4 luxury apartments were bought in the 1990s. So that puts into question the timings. What's also interesting is that the Prime Minister, Nawaz Sharif, hosted Benazir Bhutto at these very flats when they were finalizing the Charter of Democracy. So interest in these flats are unlikely to subside anytime soon.
Right, Mandy, do stay with me. Let's also take a look at this story from Pakistan's angle as well. The Supreme Court there on Tuesday said it may summon Pakistan's Prime Minister to record his statement in the ongoing Panama case. How has this high-profile case been evolving? Let's take a look at this report by our Pakistan Bureau Chief, Taha Siddiqui.
A 5-judge Supreme Court bench has been hearing the Panama case on a daily basis in Islamabad, and on Tuesday it observed that Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif may be called for cross-examination, if need be, to ascertain the true ownership of the offshore companies and properties in his children's names. The Panama leaks have revealed that 3 of Nawaz Sharif's children own offshore companies and assets not shown on his family wealth statement. Following these revelations, Pakistan's opposition politicians, including Imran Khan, petitioned the Supreme Court to investigate the money trail, alleging that Sharif made this money through corrupt practices when he was in power in the 1990s, and then transferred this wealth to his children. However, in a written submission to the courts in November when the hearings began, Sharif made the following claims. He said that his children were not his dependent, and the money to purchase any such property was given to them by their grandfather, that is Nawaz's father. He was not holding any offshore companies. He claimed that he had paid tax and declared all his assets in 2013. His children maintain that they are all adults and own their own businesses, which have nothing to do with their father. Sharif's family is known to be wealthy from before they joined in politics, as they were big stakeholders in the steel business in the country.
According to the judges hearing the case, the petitioners are yet to provide any evidence of wrongdoing by Nawaz Sharif, even though the court has repeatedly asked for such proof.
Given this, experts believe the Panama case is more about political opportunism and about denting Sharif's political standing ahead of general elections next year. In Islamabad, this is Taha Siddiqui for WION.
All right, in fact, Taha Siddiqui is now joining us live on the broadcast. Taha, talking about the politics of the case, let's start with that since your report ended with that. Now, the information minister is saying this is scandal to malign the Prime Minister's name and his family's name just ahead of the elections. Then you have Imran Khan levelling allegations against the Prime Minister. What's happening politically with this case?
Well, basically, inside the Supreme Court, ever since this case has started, which from November in 2016, so around about 3 months ago, inside the Supreme Court, not much progress has been seen when it comes down to the hearing, the judicial sort of aspect of it. But outside the Supreme Court is where the actual battle is taking place. Right after the hearing, both sides, the government side, and then the petitioners, which include Imran Khan, which include Jamaat Islami, Sirajul Haq, and Sheikh Rashid of another political party. So all of these, they basically, the media broadcast them live, and they pass on allegations and claim that they have won it, they have won the case, and they're winning the case, and so it goes back and forth in that way, where the PMLN political sort of elites, they are claiming that the case is heading nowhere, and on the other side, the guys who have petitioned the case, they would continue to allege that this is the end for Nawaz Sharif. But once you go inside the hearing, and once you hear what the judges have to say, the judges have basically no case to go forward with, because both sides are leveling allegations or saying that the other side does not have any proof, and that's actually the case inside the courts.
Right. Also, Taha, the way the case has been covered by the Pakistani media, you gave us a sense into that, but isn't this also a fact that with this latest news, there's now more and more pressure on Nawaz Sharif and his family to come clean on this issue?
Well, definitely there is this pressure, and we do know that Nawaz Sharif in the past or his government in the past has been accused of corrupt practices, and there have been many times in different sort of local national accountability bureaus, many of his party members have been indicted or have been punished, and there is definitely, I mean, his wealth that he had, although he comes from a rich family, his parents, his father was a businessman also, but his wealth sort of multiplied exponentially when he joined politics. So definitely there is this link, and this has been talked about in the press a lot, and even now most of the media, the Pakistani media, talks about it and criticizes it, but again, he gets saved sort of from the fact that there is no evidence as to prove what wrongdoing did he do or how did he manage to do it, and he enjoys a comfortable majority in the parliament, and he has been remained popular sort of because of the projects that he's been launching, especially infrastructural projects, and in Punjab especially, which is the majority province, and Punjab matters, and where he's popular. So because of that, it will be tough for him to lose his popularity, but that's what the other political parties are trying to do.
All right, Taha, do stay with me. Let me get in a perspective from London as well. Mandy, what according to you could be the likely implications of these documents that have now surfaced?
Well, the main issue for the Sharif family is that they have never declared these flats in their personal wealth. It was all done through an offshore company, and that would create the appearance that they were trying to hide their assets. So the difficulty they're going to have to fight against is these allegations of corruptions, or the feeling that they're trying to hide their personal wealth. And that could have a serious damaging implication for the family's reputation, but also for the daughter's political ambitions. So it's really how they will be perceived in the wider public whether they are seen as a corrupt family or not, and that's what they are going to have to fight against.
All right, and Taha, these revelations, seem to be going against what Nawaz Sharif has been talking about all along, that his family is not involved in any case. He doesn't hold any offshore companies. That has been his defense all through.
Well, he's trying to make this difference that he does not own these offshore companies. His children or adults, they own these offshore companies. And also recently they produced, they sort of gave a letter from a Qatari prince in the court, in which the Qatari, it talks about the fact that Nawaz Sharif's father, so the Prime Minister's father, had set up a steel mill in the Middle East, and that money then, through that money, plus some investments from a Qatari prince, which is mentioned in this letter that has been produced in the Supreme Court, that all that money was then given straight away to Nawaz Sharif's children. So he was sort of, because he was involved in politics, and because his children were more sort of closer to the grandfather, so the grandfather gave all this wealth to the grandchildren. So they're skipping this one generation, and because of which he's maintaining that he has nothing to do with these offshore companies. But definitely the impression is that this could have not been possible with him being involved in the middle of it, all of it also. And that is what the political parties and the opposition and the petitioners are saying, that he is also involved, and this is his money that he sort of gave off to his kids, not the grandfather giving it to the grandchildren.
All right, and one very last question before we head into a break, Taha, to you is finally, wrapping up this discussion, is this whole episode going to dent Nawaz Sharif in the general election slated for 2018? How much of an impact would this really have at that time?
Well, the longer it lasts, the more impact it will have, and that is why the government really wants to wrap it up as soon as possible, and we have been seeing that in every time there's a press conference from the government side, they keep sort of hinting at, or sort of saying that, oh, yes, this is the end of the case, there's no case, and we're soon going to have a verdict in which the Prime Minister is going to be given a free, clean sheet. So in that sense, but on the other side, the PTI, which is Imran Khan's party, the Jamaat-e-Islami, which is Sirajul Haq's party, and then Sheikh Rashid, which is another political party. All of these are in political opposition to Nawaz Sharif in the parliament, and they are sort of trying to gain leverage from this case and trying to elongate it as possible, make it as long as possible, so that they can get that political mileage and it remains within the sort of memories of people when the 2018 election happened next year. And given the fact that this year is being termed as the election year and the campaigning year in Pakistan, this could potentially be damaging to Nawaz Sharif if it continues for longer. And we've seen already that in the last 3 months, it seems to be dragging on and on.
So, as you said, Taha, the longer this case drags on, the more, potentially more impact or more, problems it will create for Nawaz Sharif. We'll really have to wait and watch how these new set of revelations pan out in Pakistan in the next few days. On that note, thanks so much, Mandy Clark, as well as Taha Siddiqui, for joining us here on Gravitas. We're taking a short break. More on the other side. Don't go anywhere.